if you're not in agreement on a decision, it's going to be the wrong decision. If someone pushes ahead with it, it's going to be a mistake.
Exactly. Well, we are in the kitchen with our kitchen couples. We have Mike and Diane Clemens and Dan and Danielle McCauley. And okay, guys, decision making in marriage. I mean, we all have to make decisions, right? And I love the verse that Bill was using in Proverbs, but a different take on that verse is wise men and women are always learning, always listening for fresh insights. And so we need some fresh insights sometimes on to know what to do, to do what's right.
She mentioned studies show 5,000 decisions a day that we make, because most of them we don't even think about, probably subconscious decisions. Am I going to turn left here at this light? Or I know, probably a lot of little things in there, but some of them are a little bit bigger, and some of them we need to talk over with our spouse, but some of them we do need to ask some questions about. Is this obvious, as Bill and Pam said? Is the obvious test? Yeah, this is pretty obvious. And others that are a little more difficult, maybe we need to get a little wisdom here, and we can try to glean that wisdom from different things, different people, from God's Word, from prayer. But what do you guys think about these decisions in marriage?
Well, I think marriage should be a safe place to talk about ideas and make decisions together, as opposed to one being whatever condescending. That's a dumb decision, or a dumb suggestion, or controlling, or any of those kinds of things. Like, just a safe place to talk through and find what's best.
Even when we're at the restaurant and I'm trying to decide between two meals.
Especially then. Or when we are maybe like shopping, for instance, if I'm shopping and looking through a store, and I can't even I go to touch a shirt and she's like, nope. Okay.
All our dirty laundry gets aired on a better.
The color or style of something. I pick something, I'm off the rack. She's like, no, I'm not even this. I'm not even allowed to.
It's the other way around. He's the price guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And she's policing my style in that case. But so that's a lighthearted example. But just the idea of being open to making decisions together, to be able to talk through things and not have it just be a foregone conclusion that one person is making the decision all the time.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I don't think that God is looking down on us, and when we make the wrong choice, go, oh darn, Dan and Danielle made the wrong decision. Now all of my plans for them is ruined. He is bigger than that. He is more sovereign. But I will say, so I'm going to share a quick little story about a documentary I watched once, all about the show The Price is Right. That show. It was called The Perfect Bid. And it was all about a guy who actually beat the show. He beat the system and learned all of the prices of all the products that they would show. Now, luck was never on his side, and he didn't actually win, but he found himself more often in the studio audience, and he'd be cheering and shouting out the right answer. And one day, a man actually got the perfect bid. He came on down, he won, he made it to the Showcase Showdown, and he got his perfect bid right to the dollar and won both Showcase Showdowns. Wow. And you want to know why?
Why?
He tuned his ear to the one who had all the answers.
He was the man who knew the answers, was in the crowd shouting them out. He figured it out and listened for that guy's voice above everyone else's.
Wow. And life can kind of be like a 70s game show. There's door number 1, door number 2, door number 3, and we have voices yelling at us. And we need to stay close enough to the one who has all the answers, because it will make life so much easier for us. And Psalm 32:8 it is, says, I will guide you along the best pathway for your life. I will advise you and watch over you. I will watch you with my eye. And it makes me think of a parent.
It says, I will guide you
with my eye. And when a parent kind of gives a look, when their kid's kind of out of line, and all they have to do is give them a look.
And you know what you're supposed to do.
Because they have that relationship that I'm going to fall in line. And God, that's how He wants us. He doesn't want to have to yank us in the right direction.
Right, because the other part of that verse says, don't be like a horse or a mule who needs a bit and a whip and a spurs to make you move. But I'd rather guide you with my eye,
relationship
is the idea.
And my closeness. Yeah.
That's good.
That's so good, guys. really tuning your ear to the person that has the decisions, through reading God's word, through spending time through prayer, and learning, really what his voice is like. And as Bill and Pam were saying, that then a decision, if you look for wisdom from God's word, then that all of a sudden becomes obvious.
And don't allow any distractions to keep you from his voice, like possibly the distraction of our dog Charlie.
Yeah, he's been walking around here,
I don't know if you can hear
and
Charlie.
you can hear his little footprints, I think, going
Toenails all
through. If you
over
hear
the
like click, click,
carpet
click,
floors,
his
so-
toenails.
We're barging in on his territory,
This is
right?
Charlie's
So
house.
I should need to make a
Charlie's in
decision.
charge.
Yeah,
Make a decision whether to put him outside or not. But then he'll bark, and you'll hear the bark. So hey, we're in our house. here, folks.
We're gonna just plow through with Charlie, okay? So you guys,
Keep it
decision
real.
making,
For me, I just think it's super important that as a couple, you make decisions together. No matter how small, how big, it's important that you do it together. And whenever Mike comes to me with something, the first thing I always say and the first thing I think to myself is, did you pray about it already? Or did you start praying about it? Or just leave it with me and let me pray on it first. Then come back and we'll discuss it. Because I think it's so important to put God in the mix of all of that. Because no matter what decision I think, if it's not in alignment with what he thinks, what does it matter, right? So as long as we are in prayer on it, I think the right decision will be made.
That's so good, Diane. You can be together on making decisions. Because if you're not in agreement on a decision, it's going to be the wrong decision. If someone pushes ahead with it, it's going to be a mistake. And so it's better to even table it and just say, okay, well, let's just table this, come back to it. Let's take time maybe to gather some more wisdom, maybe pray about it a little more, and then get your heads back together. Because you do want to be together in one heart when you make, especially big decisions. And so that's so good.
Especially if you're not sure if it's a yes or a no. A lot of times you just push through with a no because you're just scared when maybe it should be a yes.
I've heard, when in doubt, don't.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
but
what
just
I
wait.
Yeah.
But table it and wait and then see.
Yes. Our old football coach would tell us that very thing. When in doubt, don't do it, right? If you got to think that extra minute, don't do it. But I really love, Dan and Danielle, how your explanation up front, right? You dropped the mic right there. We didn't need to say anything from there. But I had this little thing just in sort of coaching people around decisions and execution. VDRP. If you have great vision, right? So it helps you to make better decisions. If you make better decisions with great repetition, it leads to precision, or it leads to execution. So VDRP. So as we talk about decisions, having a vision around something about how we make decisions and how we go into things. Many of that is for us, right? Comes from the Bible, right? So we have a vision of what we want to do, what we want to be, what we want to represent, right? So that vision that we have helps us to make better decisions, right? And we do that with great repetition, then it leads to precision. And so we get better as the time goes. Many of the decisions we make, we talk about a lot of the things, but many of those, most of those 5,000 decisions you talked about are things that we can do capably on a daily basis. If it's in us, right? If we choose to walk that way, to walk the vision that we know and understand, many of those things are simple. But as we move forward then, as those decisions become more important, larger decisions, whether that be relational or financial or whatever that looks like, in those cases, it's then good to get good feedback like you get at a Better Us.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of a Better Us, that we had a big decision to make when we started a Better Us, because we had been out of television for a while. We had been enjoying ourselves doing marriage seminars, live events, and then the opportunity came to us to get back into television. And honestly, I was more leery about it than Ron was. He was saying, you know what, maybe we should. So we did. We sought wisdom.
Yeah, we talked to a number of people, and then just kind of out of the blue, we'd get a phone call, or we'd see this door is opening, and people encouraging us, and
that we didn't even ask about,
we
just
thought,
out of nowhere.
Okay, maybe God's trying to speak to us. Maybe we should do the marriage thing, but get it on television and try to encourage people who might not otherwise attend a seminar or an event. And so, so
here we are.
gathered
Big
some
decision.
wisdom. we used the wisdom test, and it helped us for sure.
Yeah, it's good advice.
Yeah, good stuff, everyone.
Yeah.
All right. And they've made a really good decision tuning in today.
You sure have.
Stay with us. Hey friends, we really hope you're enjoying the marriage conversations here on our A Better Us YouTube channel.
We have hundreds of more helpful marriage videos designed to give you hope and tools to make your marriage even better.
Right. And you can see just a few options we think you might like here and here. So keep exploring.
Oh, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here so you don't miss out on all the great marriage help we have coming your way all the time.